Today I'm going to show you guys an awesome way to create some light flares and little dust particles and really cool atmosphere in an image using a custom brush that we're going to make right now in Photoshop. Hey guys, and welcome to Phlearn. My name is Aaron Nace. You can find me on Phlearn.com where we make videos teaching Photoshop and photography, and we make them really fun. Today we got a really cool episode. If you guys have ever taken an image and you've got like a really nice beam of like light coming through like a window or something like that, and you're like, man, this would look killer with some like light rays in there, maybe some like dust particles floating in the air so you could like really see that light in the air, but it just didn't come out straight out of camera. I'm going to show you like this quick tip you can do in Photoshop, actually creating a custom brush that's going to create all these little particles for you, as well as you can just add this cool special blur to it to create the light beams as well. So we're going to do that right now in Photoshop. So here's the image we're working on today in Photoshop. This is a contest winner, Ice Cube Tomato, from our last contest. I love this image. You can see I got my coffee right here, so I can totally sympathize with this image. And what we're going to do is add a lot of like little dust particles and then some light flares to this too. So what we're going to do, I'm going to create a custom brush, and I'm going to kind of show you guys why we're going to create a custom brush to do this. So let's just grab like our brush tool, and like if I wanted to create little dust particles, I could just grab like a brush and I could like just kind of paint them around like this, but this would kind of like take forever, especially if I wanted to really just vary all the brush sizes. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to Window and then down here to Brush, and then I'm going to show you guys some of the cool menu options that are built into this brush tool. And if you guys haven't played around here in the brush tool, this is an amazing place to play around. So things like shape dynamics, you can turn size jitter up, which is going to make some of these larger and some of these smaller. And you can even turn scattering up, and you can see right down here what's going to happen is basically these things are going to scatter all over the place, and you basically have a bunch of tiny little particles. Now, that's pretty good. That takes care of like our scattering and the size and everything like that. Now, I'm going to bring the spacing up so these are not so close together. That's still pretty good, but you'll see as I'm painting around, these little guys, like they're still pretty close together, really. They don't scatter quite as much as I would like them to be. Like, you know, I want one to be here and then like one to be way down here, but they're not going to do that. And the reason being is because it uses like the brush size. If your brush size is really small, that's all the scattering you're going to get. You're going to only be able to scatter in like a really small area. So if you guys have ever like tried to create something like this and you're like, they're not scattering, like this would be good for like fairy dust or something like that, but for dust particles, they're too close together. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make a custom brush really quick that we're going to basically apply the same settings, and it's going to solve the problem for us. And then I'm going to include the custom brush on Phlearn.com, so you don't have to do all this, you can just download it. But if you want to learn how to do it, stay tuned for right now. Okay, so I'm going to hit Command N, which is going to create a new document, and we're just going to make this 500 pixels by 500 pixels. Hit OK there, and now what we're going to do, and remember, we said earlier the scattering is based on the size of the brush that you actually wind up choosing, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to create a dot right here. Let's just choose a regular brush. All right, there we go. I'm going to choose like a dot, and I'm going to paint black, like right here in the corner, just like that, okay? Now I'm going to choose a much smaller brush, and I'm going to put a dot right there in this corner. Okay, now you might be asking yourself, why would you do that? Basically, the dot in the bottom right corner, that's going to be the piece of dust that you're going to see. The one in the top left corner, you're not going to wind up seeing that because we're going to make this super small. But what this does is it makes the brush size, instead of having the brush size be, you know, like 10 pixels by 10 pixels or whatever, now it's 500 pixels. So when you scatter this brush around, it's basically, you're only going to be able to see this one dot in the bottom right corner, but it's going to scatter a whole lot better. You'll see in just a second. It's going to be awesome. So we're going to go to Edit and then down to Define Brush Preset. Okay, we'll just call this Dust. Hit OK, and then we'll go back to our other document. So here on our other document, let's just clear that. Now you can see if I just paint around with this layer normally, this is what it looks like. You can see there's on the bottom right, you can see the, you know, the dust particles and that little guy on the top left, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to make this brush quite a bit smaller, so you're basically not going to be able to see the guy on the top left. Now we're going to go back into our brush panel. I'm going to load up the brush tip shape, and we're going to change our size jitter all the way up. Let's turn our minimum diameter down. Our angle jitter up, so this is just kind of going crazy. This is what we want. We want a totally scattered brush, right? And then I'm going to click on scattering, and we're going to bring up the scattering. So now what we've got, instead of, remember before it was just like a little fairy dust thing, now when I paint around, look at how random and awesome that is. They're going everywhere, and it doesn't look like a custom brush anymore because there's so much space in between these little particles, right? So basically, by making that cool custom brush with all that spacing in between them, that is a really nice technique that allows us to have like this ultimate scattering. It just makes it look like it's not done in Photoshop anymore. So I'm painting here on a new layer, and I'm just going to paint like quite a bit of dust on here. Why not? Because I like it. It looks good. But what we're going to do, I'm going to change the layer blend mode now from normal. We're going to change this from normal to soft light. And this is just going to help it like kind of blend into the image. Let's go ahead and lower that opacity a little bit as well. Okay, and I'm going to do this over a few layers. So basically, we're just going to use our brush tool, B for the brush tool, hold Alt or Option, and I'm going to grab like a nice light color here from my image itself. And now we're going to make some larger dust particles right over here. And you can see they scatter so nicely now. We're going to change that from normal to soft light as well. And we can kind of work with the opacity there. And we'll just do one more. You can even go really small, like super small if you want. There we go. And this is like the little baby tiny dust particles. Okay. Just go completely overboard with those apparently. And take forever to load. All right. When this is done loading, we're going to change this back from normal to soft light. It made a lot of tiny little dust particles. And it's still going. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to change this back from normal to soft light and then change the opacity to like 20 or 30%. So what we've got are all these like nice little dust particles that are going to look really good. Like it actually makes it look like, you know, there's something. It's like, oh, what's in the air there? Like it looks like, you know, whatever. This, like the beams of light are going to be actually catching this. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to create a new brush, or sorry, a new layer. We're going to use the same brush, everything like that, same settings. But what we're going to do, let's go over here. I'm going to bring our scattering down just a little bit. We'll make our brush larger. There we go. All right. This is going to be so cool. So we're using the same brush and now using slightly bigger particles. And you can just adjust this, like right click and make your brush size larger or smaller. That's going to adjust how large or small these little particles are. It's super, super easy to do. Okay, so I'm painting a bunch right over here near the window. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to go to Filter, I'm going to go to Blur, and I'm going to go to Motion Blur. Okay, basically here I can choose my angle, like what's the angle that I want right here over here, and I can choose my distance, like so, you know, maybe I want a little bit of blur or a little bit more blur. That looks pretty good. So we're going to hit OK, and I'm just going to keep making some more of these. The more that I make, it's going to kind of give me more and more of this effect. And if you want to just do the same blur over again, all you have to do is hit Command F. So Command F is just going to basically just apply the same thing over and over and over again. So paint a little bit and then hit Command F, and it's going to give it a little bit more of blur. If you want, there we go. And you can see it's really nice because it gives us those like nice streaks of light that we like. Kind of makes it look like, you know, actually looks like light flares. Okay, we can change that back from normal to soft light as well, and then you could do a couple different layers of this. All right. This is why it's so cool, because the same brush you can use for your dust, but you can also use, hit Command F on there, and then we'll just lower that opacity. You can also use this for the actual light flares. Okay, now what we're going to do, we have our light flares. I can group those together by shift-click on the two layers. We're going to go ahead and save this brush, so I'm going to hit B for the brush tool, right click, and then here on our little, it looks like a gear. Yep, it's a gear. We're going to click on there, and we're going to go down to Save Brushes. All right. Oh, no we're not. We're going to go to New Brush Preset. There we go. Not Save Brushes. Save Brushes would have saved this entire set. That's not what we wanted. New Brush Preset, and we're going to call this Scatter Dust. All right, and hit OK. So when you guys go to Phlearn.com and download this brush, this is the exact brush that you did. Like, I just saved it now, and you'll be able to download that one. Okay, but for our group, which has the little lens flare in there, we're going to put a layer mask on that group, and then I'm just going to choose a totally regular brush now, and then I can just paint this black here around the edges. like where I don't want this lens flare to kind of come in. So I can have it like blend in the image a little bit better. There we go. So the like light's kind of just like directly hitting our subject. Kind of makes for the like really nice shot. All right, so let's go ahead and group all those, and I'll show you the before and the after real quick here. So here's our, let's full screen that. There's our before without any of the little pieces of dust, anything like that, and there's the after. Really kind of like adds that nice bit of atmosphere and makes it look like just more like a painting and a little bit more surreal, and I think it's a really nice effect. So super simple. Just download the brush on Phlearn.com, and then you guys can do this with any one of your photos. All right, so that's it for today's episode, guys. You can use this brush on any one of your photos. If you have any ideas for us on Phlearn, like if you take some pictures and you're like, oh man, I need to fix this thing about it, or like, how can the shadows are too dark on this, I want to fix that. Leave us a comment right down below this episode. We read all these comments, and that's how we base what we teach here on Phlearn.com. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to receive updates on our videos, as well as share it with anyone you know who likes photography, Photoshop, beards. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll Phlearn you later. Bye, everyone.